Initializing monetization. Monetization process successful.
Dun dun dun! I think you guys probably remember where that sound came from, right? I love watching that show, The Cruise. My son loves it. Anyways, welcome back to another short episode of Live ZMU TV Raw and Uncut, brought to you by your host, Armand Nicholas. That is me, Team ZMU. Please visit us at www.teamzmu.com. There's a lot of materials out there that you guys can take a look at. But today we're going to be talking about a topic that basically coincides with one of the previous videos that I did, I think maybe 2 or 3 days ago, pertaining to fair use guidelines, laws, bylaws, and myth and things like that. Today we're going to be talking about what is the simplest form of the fair use guideline, right? But also the 4 factors of the legal consideration. Some people do get into trouble with this. Some people have gone further than just the removing of the video, depending on how big your channel is. And of course, whose content you're using. Some of these channels can get fairly big that if they use somebody else's content, man, that copyright owner from over there is going to want to come down real hard on those big channels because there's a lot of money involved. Now for you and I, it may not matter right now because it's, you know, our channels are fairly small. We're still growing and growing and growing, but I guarantee you right now, right, some of these channels that I've seen out there, Blippi, Ryan's World, you know, some of these channels internationally that basically have some giant platform, right, giant amount of followers that are out there. If they run into the fair use guidelines and they break some of these laws, I guarantee you the legal system, if they basically go through it, these two, or the copyright owner plus, you know, the channel, are going to go right at it, and you know, some financial retributions are going to be in effect, right? So we need to consider these things. It doesn't really matter how small or big you are at this point. You need to make sure that you know these guidelines, because if you practice them now, you won't run into the problem in the future. It's that simple. You practice it now so you won't run into the problem in the future. So let's get right down to it. But before I do that, please take the time to check below and make sure that you're ready or subscribe to this channel. Hit that bell button. The bell button is really important, you guys. The bell button allows you to be notified when I upload or when the team uploads a new video. Why is that important? Well, you're here for a reason. You're here to learn something. And I'm hoping that the videos that we do are actually providing that for you. You will notice that we don't do like some of those other tutorial videos out there that basically are kind of nice. And no, we do it raw and uncut. We deliver it to you exactly the way that it's supposed to be delivered. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. Right? But we're not going to sugarcoat this. We're not going to make you feel better about things that you know may or may not apply to you. We're going to give it to you directly. So that's the difference between our channel and some of the other channels out there. They give it to you in a sugar-coated fashion, as if they're trying to win your vote, as if they're trying to win your heart. I'm not here to win your vote. I'm not here to win your heart. I'm here to give you the information exactly the way it's supposed to, and you are going to chew on that information. You're going to digest that information, and you're going to make an educated decision. That is the best gift that you can give someone in their lifetime, is to provide them with the right information so that they can make an educated decision. Notice the word educated decision. Educated decision means you use some information to make that decision. Crossing the road without looking both ways, yeah, that's not an educated decision. But even if you're blind, but somebody told you that there's no cars coming, you can cross that road safely as long as you trust that person who told you that it's okay, right? So that's what we intend to deliver to you, and hopefully that is of some value to you, because that's how we're gonna do it, and that's how we're gonna do it all the time. Raw and uncut and unsugar-coated. It's not gonna be bland, it's gonna be flavorful. We just don't sugarcoat it for you. So let's get right down to this, all right? Fair use guidelines and the 4 factors of the legal considerations, right? First of all, you gotta remember, different countries, as I mentioned in the previous video, different countries have different rules. They have different rules about when it's okay to use material without the copyright owner's permission. Without, you know, they have different rules. And I told you an example in the previous video before about, you know, walking the streets of the Philippines when I was a child, and you know, there's these videos for sale that was recorded from the theater, and of course softwares. I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, I'm not gonna basically claim anything right now, but you know, I know of some people that Hey, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, man, games were like $1, $2 in those streets, right? And you know, basically, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. Anyways, my point is, it's because the fair use or the copyright laws are very, very loose in certain countries, right? But here, for example, here, let's talk about some of the countries that are not. The United States. The United States, you know, in the United States, works of commentary, criticism, research. What is the other one? Commentary, criticism, research. Oh, teaching or news reporting. Teaching or news reporting might be considered fair use. Okay, so what does that mean? Works of commentary. So if somebody's commenting on something, right, or criticizing something, so they have their input and they have their feedback, or research. They're doing some research against another content or against another copyrighted work, or educational value, teaching, right, or news reporting. These might be considered fair use. Notice the word. These might be considered fair use, right? It's basically some, I guess, what was the word? Some countries use it fair dealing. I don't know if you're familiar with that. If you're in a different country, I think some other countries use the word fair dealing that work, you know, similar but are a little different. Okay, so again, back to the United States, the courts in the U.S., Canada, the U.K. courts analyzes potential fair use according to some factors, right? To some specific factors that you'll probably basically get, you know, if you cross these lines, if you're a big channel and you cross one of these 4 factors of fair use, yeah, it would be wise to get legal advice to help you manage this issue, right? So again, the court will analyze certain fair use cases against 4 different factors. Okay, so let's talk about these 4 factors. What are they? What are the 4 factors of fair use, and how do they basically protect the copyright owner or protect you because you did things right? Right? In the United States, fair use is determined by a judge. I know, okay? It's not just down to the paper, down to the letter, right? It's actually determined by the judge. If you actually go through the entire process, it's actually determined by the judge. Now, you got to remember, oh yeah, then I can just keep violating the fair use content laws because who's going to want to take me to court? I have no money. Who's going to want to take me to court? I have no, you know, I have no legal, you know, standings and whatnot. You may not have that right now, but as your channel gets bigger and bigger, and you know, you're commercialized and you're monetized, and you know, some of these channels can get really, really big that they're making a ton of money. I guarantee you cross this line, somebody will come after you and make sure that whatever you profited from their content, that they can take it back. Don't do it. Know these things, okay? Know these things. So the 4 factors are analyzed here and determined here in the United States by a judge. This judge will analyze how each of the 4 factors of fair use applies to that specific case. So there's always 4 things that that the judge will take into account when someone is in front of him or her dealing with fair use violations or fair use case. So number 1, first and foremost, number 1, the judge will determine the purpose and character. The purpose and character of the use. You know, it includes whether such use of the material was commercialized in nature content. What that means is, did this person purposely intend to use this material, this copyrighted material, for commercial purpose? Did this person fully intend to use this material commercially, which means to profit from it, right? To make a profit from this content. So the courts typically focus whether the use is transformative, that is, you know, whether it adds new expressions or meaning to the original content. Previous video I told you guys about that, how to avoid this thing. You must add significant commentary value, right? Significant commentary value and significant or significant educational value, right? So the court will look at this, right? So in this concept, it basically says, okay, the court will ask, did this person intentionally commercialize this product or this material? Yes. Okay, that's fine. If they actually put significant commentary value or educational value, okay, they could squeeze with you know, being okay, right? I mean, in that case, fair use might be in play, right? But if this person intentionally commercialized this content, but did not add new value to it, new commentary value to it, or significant commentary value to it, or significant educational value to it, then no, that's likely not going to be considered fair use. Okay, you're not. It's not enough. There's not enough there that you added. You have to add significant value. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, the nature of the copyrighted work. What is the nature of the copyrighted work? Using material from, let's say, primary factual work is more likely to be fair use using purely versus using fictional material. What is that? What does this mean? If you're let's say that you use somebody else's content. Let's say that you use somebody else's content, but it's factual. What's factual mean? It's real. It's true. It's common knowledge. It's almost common sense. It's almost common sense. It's fact. It's factual. Like the sun is hot. The sun is hot, right? That's fact. Or you know what? Let's say somebody did a video. Let's say somebody did a video, and in the video they tried to educate or do a topic on fire is hot, right? Fire burns, right? And then you use that video and basically commented real quick that yes, fire is hot. How stupid is this person? That's not that doesn't violate fair use. Okay, that is true. That's true statement. Fire is hot. I don't know in what country fire is not hot. If there is one, let me know. I'd like to know. But you know, fire is hot. It's like the saying, when it's snowing right now. It's snowing in the Chicago area. Big snows, like 12 inches right now overnight. They're saying, it's not really cold. Cold is just the lack of heat. Hello. Cold is just the lack of heat. Yeah, as well as heat is just the lack of cold. These people are trying to make themselves feel better that they live in the Chicagoland area, which doesn't make any sense. Right now, it's like 12 to going to 16 inches of snow right now. It's all of our cars are buried. But anyways, moving forward, that's number two. Is if it's factual, it's okay because that's fact. That can be proven, right? If it's fictional, if this was made up by somebody else's, right? If this material was copyrighted and it's fictional, it's a made up story or whatever it is, yeah, you could violate the fair use on that because that's obviously their creativity. That's obviously their ingenious brain work that created that content, right? You can't just basically use that material. You're gonna run into some problems. Number three, the amount, okay, the amount and substantiality of the portion that you use. A lot of you guys will run into this. Oh, I only use this much. I only use 2 seconds of the song. I only use 5 seconds. I only use 10 seconds. Borrowing small bits of material from an original work is more. You have the ability to not cross that line, but it doesn't matter. You guys know this. Some of you have personal experience in this. Oh my gosh, I got a copyright claim on my channel or on my video, and we ask you, well, where is it? It's 3 seconds in the video. Well, mute it. And then that's it. It fixes it, right? Or cut that scene out and it fixes it. That's 3 seconds. All right? You can run it. I mean, that's almost nothing. You got a 20-minute video with a 3-second violation. I mean, come on, seriously, right? But just because, you basically borrowed just a small portion of it, that doesn't always protect you. But in the court system, in the 4 factors, borrowing small bits of material from an original work is more likely to be considered fair use, right? Compared to, notice this is what they're saying, compared to borrowing a larger portion. Well, of course, smaller the better, larger the worse, right? However, even small takings can weigh against the fair use. And like I said, some of you have run into this problem with YouTube already, with certain portions of your video running into copyright or fair use claims because you use, a portion of a soundtrack or from a copyrighted material. Okay, so again, Using small portions versus big portions, always the small portion is better in the court of law, right? But even just because you only use the small portion, that doesn't mean YouTube or the copyright owner is not going to put a claim on you. So use some common sense. Don't use any portions at all. It's that simple. Don't use any portions. It's that simple. Okay. Number 4, the effect of the use of the potential market. So if you have a positive effect, if you are using somebody else's content and you are giving it a positive spin, yeah, you know what? That copyright owner may not say anything to you, right? The copyright owner may not say anything to you. But if you are using copyrighted material and your intention is to degrade and demote and ruin their reputation, they are going to come after you with everything they got. Okay? Along with defamation of property, defamation of trademark, whatever, everything that they got. So yes, the court system will look at that and says, you know, did this person intentionally try to, you know, affect the copyright owner's market share, or affect their profitability, or affect their value, or affect their copyrighted work, right? I mean, if these are things that they will consider. So again, those are your 4 pillars, your 4 legal factors when it comes to copyright, or I'm sorry, when it comes to fair use. So again, fair use guidelines are very important to understand. Fair use laws, Fair Use Act are very important to understand. But at the same time, the 4 factors of the legal consideration are also some of the things that says this is what they will determine. So even if you run into some fair use, you can certainly get away with it as long as it fits right into the guidelines of these 4 factors. Now, if you're completely outside of these 4 factors, now you got a different problem to deal with. Okay, so once again, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen into this short episode of Team ZMU Live, Raw and Uncut. As always, look down to the bottom of the screen. Put the comments in there. Number 1, if you learned something, let me know what it is. That makes me feel better, knowing that my content's out there actually doing something good. Number 2, if you have no idea what the heck I was talking about, please notify me so that I can make these videos a little bit easier to follow, or maybe even slower pace. Number 3, if you have some personal experience, allow me to learn from you, allow others to learn from you, be an educator as well. Let's all teach each other, and let's all grow together towards the common goal. Once again, my name is Armand Nicholas, and if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time on another episode of Live Team ZMU TV, Raw and Uncut. Have a good day.